what does your actual life look like, right? Because usually when you start building something, you don't really have one.
Yeah.
Your life becomes the build, right? And everything that you have to do to become the individual you need to become in order to make this build successful.
Real business owner.
Whatever your situation is currently is not your forever situation.
That's really what real business owners is, man. Like, we don't care where you come from, where are you going?
Our goal and our job is to reduce the mistakes that you have to make or the money that you have to lose.
You want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful, don't give up.
You learn, adjust, and continue to move forward.
Welcome back to the Real Business Owners Podcast with myself, Trevor Kale. As always, Kel Goodman.
What's up, what's up?
Guys, today we have a couple badasses, happen to be married, happen to be business partners, happen to, find our podcast, 3 or 4 months ago, started digesting the information, showed up to the Dallas event. Me and Eric, we've got a little, 5 or 6 mile run in one morning or something like that.
Yeah,
so it was good to meet you guys. We have Eric and Destiny. Is it Rowell? Is Rowell?
Yeah, we say Rowell, but I mean, if you actually sounded it out, it would be Rowell.
Yeah. So I have to sound things out.
Right? We got Southern.
Hey, bro.
Depends on what part of the U.S. you're from.
My education level, I was sounding it out like the sound. It's like he. If I, you know what I mean? I'm still there, and I'm like, oh, the. Okay.
You say it a few times and it clicks.
Yeah, forgive me. So, you guys own Grit and Grind Coffee, right?
Yeah.
So you guys have been married for decades, it seems now, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not that it seems like actual.
Yeah,
real,
I think
we had our 10-year anniversary about 5 years ago, so I would say about 15 years.
So you guys have been you guys have been dating, for many moons, and then married for about 15 years. You've been through the ups and the downs, and and you guys are at a really cool spot right now with starting your guys' business and turning it into a franchise. You're at a good spot, but also probably a spot that comes with a lot of problems, a lot of headaches, right?
Right, no doubt.
Yeah,
it's been smooth for a few years, so we're bracing ourselves because we're it's too good to be true. We know it's fixing to come, and everything that has happened to us thus far, I think, is going to prepare us for what's to come. So
let's talk about your guys' journey to entrepreneurship, right? Everybody has their own journey on why they ended up wanting to start a business. Like, did you guys come from families that were entrepreneurs or something, and this is just a natural thing, or you just got fed up with the 9 to 5 and decided to start a business for yourselves? Kind of, what's the story behind that?
I grew up with 2 addicts, so I come from seeing what I did not want to be, and polar opposite. Some people get thrown into it, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't have a chance," or it's an excuse, really. Yeah. And I just seen what I wanted, so I tried to get out as fast as I could. Yeah. Hence, we've been together since we were middle school, 15. Yeah. So that all we know is each other. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of like my way out, that love that you really didn't get in the house, and kind of started with that. So
did you guys live really close by, and you guys just met each other at school?
Yeah, we were in the same high school.
Yeah.
But I would say that we're probably builders, creators, you know what I mean, to our core. That's kind of who we are and how we got into entrepreneurship. She's really that type of creativity brain, you know what I mean? And me, I was cool punching that clock. Like, I was like, hey, give me that easy salary. Let me go to work. My job, my 9 to 5, bro, was way easier than what I do now.
What was it?
He's like, I want to go back to work.
So I was in occupational health and safety, like OSHA stuff. Like, I walk around and tell you, hey, put your safety glasses on. Or, you know what I mean? That's how you
the man in charge.
That's how she met you, the hall monitor.
Yeah, that's right. I make good money doing hall monitor.
Hey, get to class.
Get back. But she's always worked for herself. She has I think an authority issue. We joke at home. She's like, I'm not working for nobody else.
I could never clock in. I could never be on time. And it wasn't the fact that I wasn't, timely manner. If you told me what to do, I was like,
you wanted to do the
I wanted
opposite.
to buck the system.
And
so I've always owned my own business. I'm a branding photographer and been that for 16 years on the coast, Mississippi, where we're from, and just wherever we traveled or wherever life put us, I was always able to build clienteles or travel back to the coast. So it was really easy for me to be able to kind of just do my own thing wherever I wanted and just.
What are some of the other things that you've done, like some of the other business ventures?
So I do a lot with helping other entrepreneurs build content and learn content strategy for online marketing, things like that, on top of everything photography. I started as a wedding photographer. All my friends grew up, out of high school. Then they had babies. I photographed, maternity.
Yeah.
So I've been, but now I've really niched down to just strictly branding. Yeah. And I think it goes back to me being able to pay it forward. Because, man, content is so crucial whenever you're starting a business, just to get out there in front of your,
for sure,
and knowing your ideal customer and all that nerdy stuff that I kind of love and that people don't think about,
Yeah. A lot of people think about the big thing, just to make, like, let's bring in money, how to do it. Like you said, she's the one that's behind the scenes pulling the levers, trying to get people to come in and actually buy the thing.
Right. I've been riding her coattails on that aspect of it, for sure.
I've always been a very strategic thinker, I think, and he's always been muscle. I'm like, hey, I need this done. He's like, got it. Head down, grind, get it done.
Where did the coffee idea come from? Do you guys just coffee connoisseurs or what?
I don't know if I should say this, but a year ago, I actually never drank or made coffee in my life.
Really?
I swear.
For me though, like I had a job where I was on like a commercial flight on Monday and flew home on Friday. So the first thing I do when I landed in a new city, Google, hey, where's the nearest coffee shop? You know what I mean? So I enjoy drinking coffee. She, again, never drunk any coffee, but we ran numbers. It was a numbers thing for us. And we was trying to fill a need. Basically, we was in real estate there. We figured, hey, we want to get into real estate. We flipped a house or two and it was like, oh man, we like this. We like the money that comes with it. Yeah. But it was during the time of COVID and nobody's selling. And if, they were selling it, the prices were crazy high. Yeah. Right. So we was like, all right, let's pivot. How else can we generate that income? All right, well, we want a house to bring in a minimum of $1,000 a month. All right, we started playing with food truck concept. And then it was like, all right, let's be a little more unique. And then that's where it landed to, there's no coffee shops in our small town. Let's do it where we can prove our concept at a lower cost, upfront risk. And then that's kind of how that comes
Have you guys self-funded it when or are you guys doing credit cards, loans, like how, most startups?
It was a real estate flip.
Yeah.
Right. And then we had
about $30,000 nest egg that we couldn't really do. You can't buy a house for $30,000 at that time, And so we're like, well, what do we do with it? And so we took that. We knew we budgeted in it. We had to make it work with what we had. And that's why we did the mobile concept versus a brick and mortar. Yeah. And to build, brand awareness, improve a concept, make sure that our small town even wanted a coffee shop because we're like, why don't they have it in the first place?
And we always have an exit strategy with any investment, right? You know what I mean? Like I'll sell the trailer to a lawn care company for an enclosed trailer if I need to or whatever. Like, so everything we were investing in, it was low risk for us because we had multiple exit strategies.
Smart. Yeah.
And we've built a lot in the past and lost everything. So our fear factor is not there like most people.
We'll let it ride, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm throwing it in, dog.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's essential.
Yeah.
Are you guys as a power like you guys are a power couple, right? Like you built these things together. Like I know me and my wife, because me and my wife are business partners and things, but I also I lean on her a lot for businesses she's not a part of because I've found her intuition's way better than mine. You know what I mean? And I've heard that from other power couples out there too that are doing things way massive than us. Like, oh man, I let her make all the decisions. And I have found that to be true, and so I don't know if that's something you guys do too. There's a decision-making process. Like the guy might be like, boom, I see the opportunity. I run the numbers. I know I could do this. I know I can, put the hammer down on this stuff. And then the wife's like, okay, yeah, but
Executor.
That guy, I don't get a great vibe from him. As soon as my wife says that now, as soon as my wife says, I don't get a great vibe from him, I'm like, okay, I'm out. Because I've went against that before, and then I'm like, shit,
Bro,
it's something
that's a fresh wound, you know what I'm saying?
It's something we're gifted with, I'm telling you. Women have this gut
Kel just put salt in the wound, huh?
Right there, dog.
What was the, there's just a situation of an opportunity and you didn't vibe with it and kind of killed the deal or what?
Yeah, there's just people, you can sit across from someone. I mean, we vibe check everyone from employees to partners to things like that. And I could tell real quick, Well,
in your book, you know what I mean? I read this part, there's this whole section about greed, you know what I mean? Instead of signing people up or us trying to grow a brand based on the numbers, you know what I mean? We need to vibe check them. We need to make sure that you're going to be an ambassador. You're going to help us grow. Yeah. We're all going to get along well. You know what I mean? We all have the same common goals.
It's all about quality for us. And more than anything, we can sign on every licensee that we signed on has been completely organic.
Yeah.
We never reached out for anyone. They reached out to us, which is
Yeah.
really, really cool. But not only that, it's what qualities can they bring? Because we're thinking 10 years ahead. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want them to own their own. I want them to be in corporate with us somewhere, using the skills that they have to build
Help
our
expand
brand.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can figure out real quick when people are like trying to put together a relationship or a deal with the intention of everybody winning or just them winning, right?
Right.
You
Yeah.
sniff that
Yeah.
stuff out,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but you know, it's
Definitely.
Well, you got the Alex Hermosi that shines the light on his wife quite a bit. Says that she's really the doer,
yeah.
you know, behind the scenes that really gets everything done, right?
Andy
He's like-
Elliott's the same way.
Yeah.
Ryan
Right.
Stewman with Amy, same
Yeah.
way. Like they're
Yeah.
like, dude, I lean on my wife for these decisions.
Yeah.
And I realize, man, I do that too, right? But I think there is that's an advantage you do have as a married couple if you can figure out how to communicate well, keep each other in check, and you can be on the same team always. Like, dude, you do have an advantage, right? And
I told Eric a few weeks ago, I said, our next partners that we sign on, I need them to have a partner. I just don't want a grit or a grind. I need, because everyone we have signed on thus far has been two people. Usually they're married. Because when you go home and you've had a crappy day, you need someone to be able to empathize with you.
Yeah.
Like when I taught high school, he's like, why are you staying so late? Why are you always stressed out? He never understood. And so I just kind of suck it up, and I feel alone doing it by myself. But I mean, we have crappy days. I know to push him, and you need that if you are looking long term to be able to kind of just
You need somebody in your life, you know what I mean, that
It
you
doesn't have
kind
to
of
be
lean
yeah.
on, you know, definitely.
Let me ask you this: like, as you guys have went down this path and went all in on this vision or this goal that you guys have, what does your actual life look like? Right? Because usually when you start building something, you don't really have one.
Yeah.
Your life becomes the build, right? And everything that you have to do to become the individual you need to become in order to make this build successful, right? Yeah. Would you guys say that that's similar to what you guys are experiencing on your guys' build?
You know, I think there's times that we start to drift away from our priorities. And if I had to list out my priorities, family is above business, right?
Yeah.
So if I start to drift away and start to focus on business more, it's really just kind of redirecting and resetting, but I have to do that often, you know what I mean, through this entire process.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because we have one son, and it's me and her and him, and we pretty much do this together, you know what I mean? And we'll start to feel it, like the energy in the house will start to become a little toxic if we start to do things separate or on our own, you know what I mean? So I guess to answer that is like, we're very aligned, but it's like we have to reset often. And all of our priorities that we had prior to owning the business, we try to keep those in focus, whether it's faith, family, fitness, you know what I mean? We don't fall off or deviate from those things. Those are priority number one, because I know that in turn, the business is going to benefit from me keeping those priorities.
Yeah. At the get-go, we said we would never sacrifice what time we opened our coffee shop if we had to move our training in the morning. And so a lot of people are like, hey, you know, we open like at 7 or 8, and they're like, open up at 6:30. I'm like, bro, no, we're getting our workout in. It's the little time, the 5 minutes back that we get to talk. And it's so crucial, because if I were to move that, they're like, oh, work out in the afternoon. No.
Yeah, we're not going to sacrifice our health for
It's-
For a couple sales.
an
It's
hour
not-
more of business revenue.
Right,
you know?
because, you know, money's great. Like I genuinely get to do more things with it, but it's not number one in my life. You know what I mean? And I feel like as long as I keep it that way, then, and you know, things will stay aligned the way I need them to. And I'll continue.
We're very also routine oriented people. When we started getting our life back together, we realized that we were missing structure, and we have developed a life of organic structure, or I guess controlled chaos, maybe that's a better terminology for it. Because we get up, we work out, we get Braden up for school, we go check on the shop, get the girls ready, you know, he goes and runs. By the time we get done doing that, Braden's ready for school, bring him to school, you know, put out fires at the shop. Like it's very organized chaos, but we have to have that in order to keep that life work balance.
Yeah. And you have to update it. You know, you got to update it here and there. You know, like me and my wife right now are totally updating the way we do finances, because it was mainly my role, but then there was all these things meshed, and then we're like, we own an accounting company, but I'm like, I'm going against my own advice and commingling shit over here because shit's all but I'm like, we have to get on the same page, right? So you know, like sometimes those roles have to come together, or your kids get older, they get into more sports and events, and then you do have to alter some things, but as long as you're on the same page about it and you are willing to update it together, like you can keep those values high, you know. So
as a business owner, I think you have to be able to pivot.
You do.
Yeah.
Or else, you know.
You know, man, like I'm not narrow minded. I'm just not going down this road forever. Like I can deviate if I need to, you know, for sure. But I mean, for us, I think it's everybody bases their decisions off their experiences, right? And our experiences, you know, we draw from that like a superpower. Like it's just this thing where we've been through so many rough things in our life, and we've seen so much of what we don't like or what does not bring positive effects on our life that we can identify that quickly. And then like, all right, not going that way no more. Let's bust a Yui. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of one of our strengths is all of the negative crap that we've been through together, not with other people. You know what I mean? We've done this together. All of the, and when I say negative, it's a lot of negative, you know, a lot of dirt, mud. You know.
Well, let's dig into the dirt then a little bit. Like, what are some of the negative things that you guys have had to go through together, and ultimately end up popping out the other side better, right? Yeah. Not saying that it was easy or, you know, you do it again and again.
Yeah.
So I think we have two like different stories, and both of them were going through the mud. Like her story is growing up in a home with two addicts where, you know what I mean, they put drugs over her. Me, I grew up in a home where I didn't have that in my life. And I had a biological father that basically went through addiction that was never in my life. And I grew up saying, hey, I'll never do drugs. I'll never do that. But actually was a police officer in law enforcement, and then got in a motorcycle accident and put on pain pills, and then went straight from police officer to junkie. So now all of these things that she's been running from in her entire life, I brought them back into the home. And as this time's happening, we're having a kid together. You know what I mean? And so we're both like, our parents weren't there, you know, like we're never going to do that to our kid. So I think we went through a lot of crap together because we were, you know, we didn't want to be those parents that we always looked at and said, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? And ultimately we got out the other side. But
at the same time though, like, I mean, there's so many things people can be addicted to that's underrated. Like for me, it was codependency. Like as much as it was the drug for him, he was it for me. Like it was, I think honestly, he probably would have got sober a lot quicker if I wasn't such an enabler and codependent on him. I mean, like, you know what I mean? So it was tough to be able to, because you could tell that he was trying to get sober. And then, I mean, the way that your partner thinks that maybe isn't an active addiction with you, we still have to get sober too. Like we're still checking stuff, checking your phone, see where you're at, you know, and, you know, things that trigger us too, that you used to do. Like,
babe, I'm telling the truth. No, you're not. You know?
And so it was, gosh,
Well, you trained her not to trust you.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Right? No doubt.
You got to break those habits too.
And then you also have to train her to trust you. But that takes time. You know what I mean? And honoring the things that you say that you're going to do over an extended period of time. You're just, okay, now we can turn the page, right? Yeah.
Which is wild because now, like, he's like, here's $100,000. I'm like, you do what you want with it. And I'm like, to look back 10 years ago, I wouldn't have trusted you with $15.
Not one.
No. And so it's crazy how you can literally transfer your life in your mind. And like,
it just takes one choice. Everybody's one decision away from something completely different. Why did you decide to change? What was your moment of like clarity? Because everybody has that low point where they're just like, I can't do it anymore.
Right. And for me, I was tired of my own crap. And once that clicked, and it was basically, I remember it very distinctly, like I'm going through probably a dozen or more times of trying to get sober, and I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? I'm doing it because my mom wanted me to. I'm doing it because my wife wanted me to. I'm doing it for my kid, whatever it is. I'm doing it for the wrong reasons until I got tired of my own BS. Like I didn't change, you know? And I remember it was a lot to do with whenever I was using heroin, like I would just kind of go in this haze, bro. Like nothing could affect me. I was just feeling good, you know?
Yeah.
But as soon as that wore off and I sobered up, all of those guilt and thoughts and
shame,
emotions and shame, would just come flooding in. And like I would need to get high just to escape that. And, you know, if you go through any type of opiate addiction, I mean, the physical pain is off the charts. But that emotion that kind of compounds on top of that was like, you know, for me, it was like I didn't like that emotion feel. And I was like, you know what? This is bullcrap. You know what I mean? Like I keep doing this to myself. I'm not going to keep doing this for the rest of my life. It's either die or get sober, you know? And once I kind of, you know, separated myself from my family, and what I did was I left town and I was like, hey, I'm either going to live on these streets because I know nobody where I'm going, or I'm going to get sober and clean. You know what I mean? Like, and I put myself out of that environment, and it was because I wanted to do it. I was tired of looking at the person that I seen in the mirror.
Yeah. Surprised you looked at the mirror.
Yeah.
Most crackheads, though, we don't look at mirrors.
Right.
We would rather not, you know, like.
Looking a little rough.
Unless
you're
snorting some off a mirror or
that's
something, you know.
Isn't that
that's just
funny though?
about
Like,
it, you know?
like that's a telltale sign for anybody that's
Yeah.
struggling with any addiction is you really do avoid the mirror. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
I don't even want to see my
When
own
when
ass.
I'm off the charts, freaking not taking care of myself, I know I'm getting fat and shit like that. I'm like, I ain't walking past that mirror, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like a crackhead,
Yeah.
a foodie
like
and a crackhead.
crackhead,
do the
it's
same
like,
thing. man.
I got to go to the
mirrors.
kitchen, but I'm not going that way. You know?
Take the long route, you know. So,
doubt.
so how many locations do you guys have now, and how many franchises have you been able to sell? Or this is just, I know that the whole franchise thing is kind of a newer thing for you guys.
So we opened up about, August made our first birthday.
Okay.
And we started off with we owned and operated the one mobile trailer. And then we opened up a brick and mortar shortly. About 6 months later, everything was just crazy.
Yeah.
And then about, I'd say about 3 months later, we had someone reach out and they just wanted some consultation, and we vibe checked them. They're from our hometown in Mississippi. They're like, I was like, yeah, you know, whatever information, come sit, you know, we'll help you out. And I said, Eric, what if we should offer them to be a part of who we are?
Yeah.
And we called them right back, and she's like, yeah. And we're like, no. It's like, sleep on it. Like, think about it. And she's like, no, yeah. And so we're like, no, sleep on it. And so that was our first licensee, and that was maybe 6-8 months into it.
So that happened organically.
Very organically.
And then it opened up the idea of let's do this over and over.
And over. And so more people just kind of reached out, seen what we were doing. And I think we're up to 9 licensees. No, well, we own and operate 2. So
Right. But 9 locations.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
However, 4 of those haven't launched yet. 2 of them are about to launch. Then 2 others, probably about 3 months from launching. But you know, up to 9 before the first of the year. And then we're strategically just trying to put all the systems in place to kind of grow and expand further. And I think even after we went to Dallas and hung out with y'all, we've kind of decided that what we're going to do
put a pause on things.
Well, not only that, we're going to do and focus on the licensing versus the franchise. You know, I guess it's very similar, but we're going to focus on the licensing part, and we're going to do it in 2 tier sections, right? So one of them is going to be like we've done all of our other licensees, very hands-on, us coming in, you know, helping you get up and going. And then there's going to be a secondary tier, maybe a little bit lower, where we just give you the systems and processes, and then you're able to do that. So we're going to be able to scale that one a little bit faster. And the more hands-on one.
What's the goal though? The vision, like you guys want stuff all over nationwide, or do you kind of want it in your region where you can just like, you know, kind of blow up, you know, that area because you can go be more hands-on, or, you know, what if I wanted to buy a coffee truck, right? Would you come up here to Utah, or is it like, you just, you know, give you the
funny
system,
thing
right?
is we just reached out to somebody locally. Like we did a Google search, like
we looked up all the
local coffee shops near us. You know what I mean? To answer the question more directly is when you see Starbucks, we want you to think grit and grind. You know what I mean? So that's our goal. I mean, we want to be nationwide. We want to be the number one brand.
Specialty
when you
coffee.
think about mobile coffee, you think about grit and grind, right? So I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah. See, when Trev launches his not RV park, his glamping spa up in Virgin, I'm gonna come put my grit and grind up on that glamping spa.
Yeah, there you go, right up on the corner.
I'm gonna make my kids run and be like, Taylor, you're gonna be up there.
There is the desert smoothie is what it's called.
They probably are busy during the peak season though.
Yeah, he is busy. He is busy because it's 110 degrees. You know,
wow. Holy crap!
So, he gets hit up quite a bit, but he's on a main strip right there, and there's tons of traffic going all the way up to Zion right there, and there's only one way in, one way out, right? And there's nothing else out there.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
So,
well, dude, when we did glamping out in Kanab, I wanted a freaking coffee in the morning. I had to drive clear to Kanab.
Exactly.
I was like,
how far? You had to drive like 30 minutes or 20 minutes to get a coffee?
15, but still, like if there was one right there off the highway, main spot, like,
or you just walked
over to
then,
I would have bought coffee every morning.
Where'd your guys' name come from? The grit and grind, because it's different, right?
Yes, it is. So whenever we decided, we're like, okay, numbers are great with coffee. Let's do this. My background is in branding, and I was like, I got this. Like, you figure out how to fund it. And so we sat down long and hard and thought about our ideal customer avatar. Who did I want? And even though I didn't even own a coffee shop yet, the goal was a coffee shop.
Had you had a sip of coffee by this point yet?
No.
Still no. Okay.
No, I have not. But
we're getting there.
Okay.
I said I could
work our way to it.
I can market something. I could sell it. If I can find a problem, I can make a profit. Yeah. And so I knew who I wanted to attract. I wanted entrepreneurs because at the time I was a photographer. There was nowhere in our town to sit down and sign contracts besides a Mexican restaurant. Yeah. I mean, who wants to leave smelling like fajitas?
Yeah.
So I was like,
they sure taste good.
Hey, what about the fajitas?
The chips and guac and salsa. Come
focus,
on,
guys.
now.
Focus.
Okay, my bad. Don't say Mexican food then. My God, my voice is going out. Just think,
You're drooling.
And I find energy when we talk about Mexican food. Like, yeah.
Lord.
Let's go.
Them dopamine hits.
Hell yeah.
That's funny. But
the brand is all her.
Yeah. We had nowheres to meet. And so I was like, I want people to sit in my coffee shop that are signing deals, growing mentally, whatever it is, business wise. And so we developed everything as far as fonts, color palette, the way we word stuff on our social media. And so there was no other words that I could possibly try and, muster together besides grit and grind, because that's just literally who we are as people. Yeah. And so I don't know. It's just, you take the coffee off and that's just who I think we are, and we want to build a community. You ask, like, what is the goal? Yeah. The goal is to create a community like you guys are doing, for people who want to escape that 9-to-5 or that want to be able to, have financial freedom in their life to do whatever they want. So it was a no-brainer.
And I think, for us, we found this niche, right? Because as business owners, there's a lot of businesses out there that you can be highly profitable, but it takes a lot of upfront capital. We found the coffee industry is booming, number one, and the mobile coffee is it's a newfound territory, right? So we've kind of figured out this playbook for it, and you can ultimately go invest, let's say $50,000 and then get 100% ROI, you know what I mean, within 6 months if you have the right strategy. Yeah. Right. So tell me where else you're kind of doing those numbers.
Getting a return on investment in 6 months. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
I mean, so we kind of we've thrown a lot of rocks at different business ideas and tried them. And this by far has been the best financially. You know what I mean? And not only does it check that box, but serving people, you just get so many, joy from being able to do that. Like when someone comes in the morning and they're just kind of like dragging and then like you brighten their day. Like when I was walking through your office, bro, and like giving those high fives, it brings you to another level. You know what I mean? I was like, let's go. You know what I mean? And I get to do that.
You guys are the Let's Go coffee company.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
When you're feeling down, go to Grit and Grind.
So it checks so many boxes. You know what I mean? And that's why we're so passionate about it and love it.
So you guys have your regulars and stuff that you get to know every single day.
They love it. Like they come in, we're like regular. They're like, and that just, some people, that's the only time that they might get to be or feel seen. Yeah. And like, what does that take? Like, what did that take us to do? Like nothing. And so we focus strongly. We serve an okay cup of coffee, but our customer service is going to be, top notch. Like I can give you every single recipe. You can try and dupe it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have competitors. I'm not going to lie. They stalk our pages and recipe cards and
Sure.
send in moles, but you are not going to ever duplicate the customer service of the people.
Yeah.
There's no way you're not going to do that.
Well, because you guys are authentically passionate about attracting your ideal customer too, right? Like I'm your ideal customer. I'm sitting here thinking, dude, I want to buy one of these franchises.
Yeah.
I want to buy one of these
We're gonna
licenses.
have you sign up for our lead, bro. You know what I mean?
You can't have
Babe, you got that pen and paper?
you can't have Utah territory because we're moving
Trevor,
here.
I already
though.
got an idea, dude. A new Coral Canyon location. There's not a coffee shop out there.
There's not.
I don't know one. Do you know one?
No.
But we have entrepreneurs that come hang out with us in that spot buying
telling
coffee, and then
you.
the whole
Yeah.
community out there buying coffee. You know, that'd be freaking dope. See, I'm getting ideas. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah.
And it's doable. Like I said,
Now we know why they really came out.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Utah's the next freaking location.
well, everyone thinks that. I mean, a lot of small businesses from where we're from, small town, it's like, okay, you make cheesecakes. Your mama tells you make great cheesecakes.
Yeah.
You go and open up a cheesecake store. You're out of business in 6-8 months because you don't know how to market. You don't know how to do
Like,
business.
they don't even know how much money they have in their
No one does their
product.
cogs
Yeah.
or, and so I think we had an advantage because we did it backwards and we never played the telephone game. Like we never went to a coffee shop and was like, how do you make this? Okay, let me make it. And it got diluted along the way. We knew nothing. We just had a test kitchen. We researched, there's, like Eric was saying, there's little information out there on mobile coffee trailers. And so we were just winging it. We were like, okay, that doesn't work. Let's pivot. And so that's the whole reason why we are trying to build a community of people because coffee has changed our life.
Yeah.
And so if we can share what we have learned along the way, and I get it, it's so hard to slow down once you get thrown into your business to pay it forward.
Yeah.
But man, if you can share, you can build a community of people that you can ultimately change their life, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you're bringing the systems, the numbers, and that's what most
I already have it,
most
yeah.
entrepreneurial mind people suck with is they're just like they just want to get out and hustle something that they're passionate about. But you're like nope, we already know everything that works,
Right.
and we got a product you're gonna love, for the right.
You
person.
get to bypass all those
The
costly.
bullshit. Yeah.
I mean,
mistakes.
you wouldn't think about you. I can't tell you how much money we wasted in cups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would fill a coffee cup up and then nope. Eric's like, nope, that one sucks because it's leaking all over him on the way to work.
Driving to work and it's leaking on our pants. Nope, can't do that.
And you can't
That
just
was a waste
buy
of money.
you can't just buy one cup. You got to buy a case of cups. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were the cup tester. It sounded like, well,
Basically,
that was a shitty job for a minute, huh? Ended up with coffee on the lab a few times.
yeah,
it
it's
wasn't fun.
Yeah.
for
someone
sure.
had to do it though.
Yeah.
So.
So do you
Took one
guys
for the team.
what does your guys' menu look like? Is it pure coffee? Right? Because it says grit and grind coffee. Do you guys have muffins or have you guys expanded the menu to what does that look like?
In our coffee trailer, what our initial menu looked like, because at that point still I never drank coffee. So I was like, I need to sell to me.
Yeah.
So we specialize in handcrafted lemonades. We do Red Bull Revivers, which is like a Red Bull base, and you just kind of flavor it up how you want to. All natural smoothies, acai bowls.
Oh yeah.
Have y'all ever had an acai bowl?
Yeah,
It'll change your life.
we own the acai bowl place here in town.
Well done.
What?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and
40% of it anyways.
And then on the coffee side, we only serve specialty coffee. You want to dive into that a little bit because you're a bean nerd.
Specialty coffee.
Yeah, so
He's become a
basically,
bean
like,
Because some people that don't know, they're just gonna say coffee's coffee. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
A bean's a bean.
Yeah.
you know?
what I learned in my early stages of like trying to research beans and going to different importers and stuff is the whole organic thing we was talking about before. I'll tell you that story as far as
camera.
like you just get that stamp for a certain amount of money.
Well, isn't it something about bat shit or something? Like, isn't there a coffee bean that's like
There is.
You know,
There
bat,
is, yeah.
bat shit coffee bean
Out in like
that's like
Jamaica or
And
something.
it's like
people
super
pay-
expensive or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like the most expensive. So you're drinking shit. You know,
Yeah.
You're paying top dollar
top
for it
dollar
too.
for that shit. I got bats out where I live. You know, I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
squeeze a
Start
couple turds
roasting.
out. And,
Yeah, start
You know?
nesting them out there.
no wonder
Yeah,
why
yeah.
COVID spread so quick. you
Right,
know?
right.
Through
Bat
coffee.
coffee. You know, so.
Yeah, so when beans get imported, right, they get graded, and you have to meet a certain grade level for it to be considered specialty coffee. So we only deal with specialty coffee, like the stuff that you're buying at, Walmart or wherever you're buying
in
coffee.
the
It's not
masses, yeah.
necessarily specialty coffee. So we only deal with specialty coffee, and that's those green beans that come in and get imported. They rank, I think it's 86 or higher. That's where we're dealing with, and we're just trying to ultimately not only serve the experience, but just fire coffee. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
don't want to be average or mediocre.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, like, is that you're paying a premium price for your coffee beans? I mean, obviously at that point, it's not Folgers in your cup, you know? Would that be cheaper? A lot cheaper for you guys to go buy a shit ton of Folgers and just make Folgers in a cup?
Heck yeah.
I mean,
it would.
I think, if I went and bought Folgers, I could probably keep it on the shelf for about a year. You know, the stuff that would go bad, that we use would go bad in about 20, 30 days.
Oh, it's almost just like it's so organic and so natural.
Yeah.
Right. And
Without
it's not
pesticides or sprayed or whatever.
Well, it's not really going to go bad, but you know, you're going to lose that flavor, and then I'm not going to serve it to my customer. Right. Because it's quality.
So do you guys have cost of goods that you have to throw? Like, is that part of your formulas? Hey, we know 10% of the this stuff that we buy, we're gonna have to throw out, or because it's gonna age, right?
Well, we go through it so quick though. Honestly, we've got that pretty dialed in, and each licensee is so different. They're like, how many syrup or how much are we going to go through? And so we've done it long enough to be able to watch the trends every day. You know, write down how much we go through, and so. We really don't have a lot of waste other than
we roast our own coffee. So, you know what I mean? Like if one of our licensee locations calls us up and says, hey, I need 50 pounds of espresso blend. Like I'm literally, when they put the order in, go make it, roast it, and then shipped out to them. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? It's not really.
I didn't know you make coffee beans.
Yeah, we roast the coffee beans.
Roast them.
Right.
So they come green.
Green. Yep.
And then you put them in
a coffee roaster. This drum roaster, you know,
that big circle thing,
right?
Yeah,
going around, you know, like propane heats up, kind of roasts, and then once it's done roasting, you drop it in that circle thing, kind of air it out. You know?
So it's the roast. Is there certain types of roasting that you do for certain types of flavors, almost like you would like with barbecue? Right.
The longer you roast it, it changes the profile of the bean, and depending on where you get the bean from, it could be citrusy, it could be more hazelnut chocolate. Depending on what origin you get your bean from, depends on what flavors come out of that bean.
Wow.
It's so much. It's awesome.
I'm excited for y'all to try that coffee I brought.
Me too. I'm gonna buy some beans too, so we can grind it in our espresso machine.
Yeah, of course you are. You're going to be, you know, using it for your grit and grind location.
Your grit,
we got you. We got
already
you.
done.
Well, Kale don't mess around. He wants to buy. He just 10 at a time. He's a you know
very impulsive.
He buys. He got a Costco membership. You know, so
hey, I'll bring my wife over. She got to get your guys' vibe first. But if she gets a good
vibe, check each other real quick from across the room.
Just sit.
Yeah, we're good by 10. You know,
right.
I'm like, babe, you need to get a vibe because you're the one running the coffee stands. I ain't doing that.
You'll be the one doing the communications.
Well, the funny thing is, though, we're sitting here states across, and our girls have it dialed in. We not only have our shop open right now, we have our trailer out too. Yeah, and then we have all.
You guys probably do good on your merch because it looks good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I like it.
I'll take all that.
Take all credit.
Yeah.
No.
Do you guys sell the merch, all that at your guys' locations?
We do. We try and keep it in. It's hard. And then he goes out. We have a color palette, but your boy he's purple, red. I'm like, they're like, can we wear it? I was like, no, don't pay attention to Eric.
I bucked the system.
Like we don't have a brown shirt, but it's hard to keep. But my things usually, I love the merch.
Do you guys give it away at all? Like do you guys have like a point system? You know how like some of these places like, hey, 10 coffees, you get one free, or you guys have any loyalty, I guess, rewards and shit?
We haven't done that yet. It's kind of a gray area. It's hard to do with because we're implementing it not only with us and got to make sure it's a well-oiled machine, but everyone. We love giving stuff away. Like we just had a whole birthday party because we celebrated our first year, and it was literally we blocked off the community blocked off the streets for us. We had a band in the street, and it wasn't about like come out and see what we did. It was our way to give back and to thank everyone. So we done a crap. We got merch, hundreds of shirts just to give away, free coffee, free swag, and it was just really neat to try and leave someone that.
But you don't have a official loyalty program implemented yet.
Correct.
Okay, well we got to plug them in with our ones that we're invested in, dude. What's the name of it?
Which ones?
JD's that we invested in his family's whole it's a whole loyalty program.
I don't remember the name, dude.
But it's good. It's good.
We're gonna
these guys were like the main programmers at Infusionsoft, and they figured out that like you can increase business by X and profits by X with this certain loyalty program thing, and they're like one of the bigger like badasses in that whole space.
That whole thing is supposed to give like a health score to the customer too, with how frequent they can, So if they're coming in like kind of sporadically, maybe when they come in and you see that name or whatever, you do something to hopefully bring them back. Hey, here's a 10% off in the next 48 hours. Because you notice they come every 2 weeks or whatever, starting to maybe get them in a
science
habit.
to it, just like the bean.
That's what I was going to say.
So,
I think that's why we haven't implemented anything yet, because in the back of my mind, I know it's very strategic. Like, I just don't want you to bring me a card and me punch you in a hole.
Out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if you know that, hey, this person's only coming here twice a month or 3 times a month, how can you get them to come 6 times a month?
Right.
Dude, there's so much to it. Like when you get people to sign in on your Wi-Fi, if you do it right, you're sucking in their email automatically. So now they're in your email drip, and it's like the loyalty stuff, the email stuff. Like there's so many ways to just make sure your people stay in your ecosystem.
I think it was literally called Loyal Stream.
It is. You just said it, dude. That's it. I couldn't think of it either, though.
I don't know. We have investments in a whole bunch of different shit, and it's like, oh yeah, like sometimes we forget. We're like, oh, what's up with Skylabs? Or oh, hey, what about this one? And I was like,
the men's body spray.
oh yeah, see, there's the men's body, the off court.
Yeah.
We need a coffee smell.
I don't know.
Coffee scent.
Yeah, these
There
guys
you
are
go.
badass.
You got little spritz in the car.
That's
get
right.
them all
That's right.
coffeed up. You know, hopefully they just buy the coffee to make the smell rather than the actual fragrance.
Man, hey, listen, we didn't expand it.
No, taking notes.
Dude, this isn't a podcast. This is a meeting of the minds.
Yeah,
right?
It's a mastermind.
We're
gonna twist our arm
network
and
just
join the
grew like that. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So
awesome.
let me ask you this: what advice would you give other entrepreneurs? Like, what's something that you had to face or overcome, some form of struggle or difficulty that you would part wisdom on somebody else? Like, what would you tell yourself 2 years ago or a year ago when you guys were starting the journey, right? Like talking to yourself, right? Because really there's somebody else that's like you, that's in the spot you were a year ago or 2 years ago. You're about to take on a daunting journey.
And you guys you need to give yourself a lot of credit. Like you should be proud of yourselves. Like people don't do what you've done in the matter of time that you've done it. And so I know you're going to have some really valuable advice because there's a lot of people that want to do what you guys are doing right now.
What Kel said,
even
don't
in
fuck
their
it
business,
up.
right?
So putting a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah. So make sure it's gold.
Make sure it's super valuable. No pressure. Go ahead.
I mean, I will say the first thing that popped in my mind is it can't rain forever. You know what I mean? If I backed up and said, ultimately, there's going to be hard times, there's going to be difficult times, but it's not going to be forever. Just don't stop. You know what I mean? Like keep going. Initially, it's the health department. I know it's probably for you too. Like, you know what I mean? That health department packet. And that was like a big challenge in our business. You know, it was like a lot of going back. It was a lot of frustration, disappointment. But trying to get approved by the health department.
Going through all that red tape.
Yeah, all the red tape. You know what I mean? That was a very challenging time for us. But it was like we kept doing it. Who cares? I lost today. Like, you know what I mean? Like I thought that they were going to come out and they were going to approve us to operate. We got an event tomorrow. They didn't. You know what I mean? They shut us down. Hey, I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'm going to do the same dang thing. You know what I mean? And I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it again until I win. So, I mean, it's like not giving up. You know what I mean? It's like keep grinding.
It reminds me. You know what I mean? It reminds me of that book, The Gap in the Gain, a little bit. It's like you just know you're that much closer instead of just like it's never gonna happen. You know,
right?
It's all about perspective.
Mindset thing. Yeah.
It is a huge mindset. For me, it is. I'm a recovering perfectionist. Yeah. And so I had to let that crap go.
Have you actually recovered?
Depends on what day it is.
And let me ask Eric. Is she fully recovered?
I took myself off the ledge a lot more than I used to, but man, it used to be really bad. Like everything had to be perfect. No, it just has to be done. And you learn and you pivot along the way. And that grit and grind has been the exhibit A of that. And the first time I've ever did that in my life, but at the same time, the most successful. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe, doing it and putting it out there into the universe and letting others, critique it and shape it, that's okay. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of having peace with who you are. Yeah. And it took us a lot to get to the point that we are. But I'm like, if they don't like it, oh, well. But before, a few years ago, I'd be like, oh my gosh, they don't like it, or it's not going to be perfect. What are they going to think? And
Taking it personal.
Man, but having that peace in your life is a game changer for us.
That saying like perfection is the enemy of good, right?
It is,
And it's like, it's so true. I struggled so much when we started going on this journey of RBO. It was just like, oh, I'd like do a video or whatever. It'd be perfect before I post it. And now it's like, I don't even care. Let these guys post it. Pull out what you pull out. Like, but it's crazy. Something that you don't think would be like relatable to somebody becomes the most relatable because it is the most authentic.
Yeah.
But as a perfectionist, you're like, I can't post that. I stuttered this one time, or you know what I mean? But in all areas of business, I can totally relate with what you're talking about. Like that's great. That's
and when you get those responses of it change someone, or they're like, oh my gosh, I'm coming back for more. You're like, man, that's what it's all about. And it redirects you. And you're like, all the other stuff doesn't even matter. The filters or whatever, or the proper speaking, or because we're from Mississippi. Then we moved to Alabama, so we way down there. So we don't say a lot of things very fluently.
Do you feel like it really was like overcoming that fear of criticism, though? Just like kind of maturing, you know? Because I know the things that I was a perfectionist on, I was carrying what everybody else would think.
It really, it goes back to childhood trauma. It was, I always did that in school. Always, I had straight A's, 4.0, because I got no approval at home. So I looked for it in teachers. So it was always trying to make sure that everything was so perfect for everyone because I needed them to know I was perfect. But people don't like perfect. People love
that inner peace, you know.
Yeah.
That's what it actually boiled down to. You know what I mean? Getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
And then once you were okay with who you were in the mirror, then
Nothing
it didn't
else.
really matter what happened externally.
So how do people reach out to you guys if they want to know more about the Grit and Grind Coffee, if they want to become a franchisee, or just want to connect with you guys?
Yeah, we're all over every social media platform. And so it's usually gritandgrind_coffee or gritandgrind.coffee. We're everywhere. Like I said, Instagram, TikTok,
You guys have a website, all that?
Yeah, it's gritandgrind.coffee. Facebook is Grit and Grind Coffee 334. The rest of them, Instagram, TikTok, are all just Grit and Grind Coffee.
And it's all your social media stuff's on that.
They're all, you can just
URL.
Google us and we'll pop up.
Yeah.
I've done it usually in every state that we go
And
to
we'll
just to see how
put
we
it
rank.
in the show notes and stuff as well, so they can reach out that way if they didn't have a pen and paper and they want to know how to get in contact with you guys. Well, we appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah, it was so
flying
good.
out.
Y'all are
It was
awesome.
cool.
You guys are really, I mean, honestly, like people will follow you because you guys are authentic. You're doing amazing things in business and in life. And so I know people should come and follow you guys. Like you guys are amazing. It was a great show.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. As usual, guys, rate and review the show. Share it with somebody you love and care about. Other than that, take care. Keep kicking ass. We'll see you next week.
Peace.